Hello everybody and welcome to another educational video brought to you by the good folks there at Great Lakes Medical Billing and Practice Management. Today we're going to be talking about Filezilla and how to use Filezilla for secure file transfer protocol. So in today's video we're going to talk about what is Filezilla and SFTP, how to download and set it up, a recommendation for file structure to make things a little bit more streamlined, and then actually using Filezilla kind of on a day-to-day basis with some examples. And we'll touch on some frequently asked questions that hopefully this video will help with. So what is Filezilla and this SFTP thing? Well, Filezilla is just simply, it's a free application. We'll go to their website, take a look at it, you download it, and it's basically used to move files back and forth using SFTP. And SFTP is this thing they call Secure File Transfer Protocol. It's just simply a method for sending and retrieving files electronically in a secure fashion. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to go out there and download Filezilla. So here's a link to it. It's just the filezillaproject.org. You'll notice that we want to do the client version, not the server version. So here you'll see it right here is Filezilla client. There is a server version that we would have on our end, obviously. I'm not going to download it now, but it's going to run you through the basic the downloads and the options that depending upon what type of software you're using. I'm not going to actually do it right now, but that's where you go to get it. Again, you're doing the client, not the server version. Once you have downloaded it, we're going to set up a new site for GLMB, and what I'll do now is just jump over. So here's what Filezilla looks like when you've basically downloaded and installed it. To set up a new site, we're basically just going to go and do the file site manager. Now, as you'll notice, I've already created a site, but it's you just click on new site to create a new site for the first time. There's details in here as far as how to actually set it up, as far as the host name, the protocol, the login type, the user, and the password. And obviously the username and the password will be provided to you by Great Lakes on an account by account basis. So this is your basic setup. And once that's set up, then you'll notice a little drop down arrow here for open the site manager. This is just kind of a shortcut. It'll list all the sites that you've got set up. In this case, obviously, we've only got the one for the Great Lakes demo. You'll notice upon first trying to connect, you'll get this unknown host key. This is normal. You're just going to say always trust this host key and say OK, and you won't have to deal with it again. And you'll notice that it now, in this top section here, it indicates a successful connection. And then what you'll notice here is also you'll see the file folders that we've got set up. Okay, so in the filing structure here, again, it's a matter of having, and what I'll do is I'll just give you the basic overview as well as far as what we're looking at on the screen. In this top section, it's a bunch of status messages. Don't really worry about that unless it's like unsuccessful. It's not connecting. You might have something in here that indicates something's not set up right, or you might have typed the password in wrong, things like that. So just be aware that it'll scroll through, and you might see things like successful. Once in a while, it might disconnect. Maybe there's a squirrel chewing on a wire somewhere. It might cause it to disconnect. Hopefully it won't disconnect. Well, maybe it's a good thing if it disconnects here because it's not a big deal. You just reconnect is all there is to it. As we get into the example, you've got the middle 4 quadrants that we'll get into when we're actually using Filezilla. And I'll get to that in just a little bit. The bottom part here, you'll notice there's a queued files, failed files, successful transfers. We'll get into that a little bit later. But what we generally recommend is, oops, did I jump too far? As far as the file structure goes, just having it basically straightforward. You have a to and a from, like an inbox and an outbox, and then within each one of those, you've got an archive. Okay, and you'll notice that's how we've got it set up on the Great Lakes Medical Billing side. If you highlight on the upper right hand side, so these two quadrants are the Great Lakes server, and your higher level file structure is in this upper right hand quadrant. And again, if you highlight the from GLMB folder, the contents of that folder is in the lower right. Okay, and similarly the to GLMB, same thing. If you highlight it, the contents are down here. If you highlight the already viewed, again, the contents of this folder that's highlighted is shown in the window down here. And again, the right-hand side is the GLMB side, okay? Similarly, on the left-hand side, this is the side that's on my computer, okay? And first, when you first do this, you kind of gotta, know where you put your stuff, okay? So I tried to just make it simple. Again, if I click on desktop, the contents of the desktop are then in the lower left quadrant. You use the little plus sign to open it up. And I have set up a GLMB folder here. Again, you highlight the folder, the contents of that folder are in the lower left, and you're just using your little pluses and minuses like you might with any other application. And then again, the contents are below it. So, and in this case, what I've done is I've created some dummy files that we'll use here in our tests in just a little bit. Okay, so I recommend that you set up your file folder structure at least in a similar fashion. You'll notice that I've called mine archive. On the Great Lakes side, it's called already viewed. They're serving the same purpose, and we'll get into that in just a little bit. Okay, so this is kind of the recommended file structure. You could, if you want, you could have more more structure depending upon the volume of files that you've got. You might want to sort it by have different files by location. You don't want to make it too complicated, of course. But however you set it up, having the archive folder is going to be useful. That way you know what's already been sent as opposed to what is yet to be sent. Okay, so that's a little bit on the file structure. So how do we actually use Filezilla? Okay, so generally what you're doing is you're dragging and dropping. If you're sending it from to Great Lakes, it's going from the left to the right. If you're sending it from Great Lakes, it's from the right to the left. Okay, now what you're basically doing is you're going to go to your to GLMB, and you'll notice server unexpectedly closed, network connection. So that does happen from time to time. Usually it doesn't interfere too much. If that happens, there's a couple of different things, and we'll get to that in a second. So right now I'm not actually connected, but I want to highlight so I'm going to have it, I'm going to select it from my to GLMB folder, and we're going to want to say, we're going to put it into the similar to GLMB folder, and just by selecting on it, it already reconnected. Okay, so just by selecting it, it already reconnected. Okay, and it's basically straightforward. So I just got some dummy files here. So you're selecting, the destination folder. The contents of that destination folder are down here, and all you're doing is you're highlighting it on your outbox to GLMB, and you're just dragging and dropping, and that's all there is to it. And you'll notice the file is over here now. Okay, now I don't have a sample document in the from GLMB folder. I can do that pretty easily just by moving things around. It works just like any other filing system that you might have. So similarly, if there is something in the from GLMB folder, you just go in here and you highlight it and you drag it and you drop it. Now it already exists, so it's going to ask if you want to override it, and you can say, rename, let's just say, and say okay, and EOBs 2 or whatever. So okay. So now you'll notice it's over here as well. Now it didn't move it, it copied it. Okay, so you'll notice that it's already there. Here it still exists on the GLMB server. Okay, that's okay. What you'll find out is the next time that you go in there, and as far as what is going to GLMB, so I already moved it. So let's move another one over there. It also works by double clicking, and I'll get to that towards the end here in the frequently asked questions. So I executed another file transfer from the left to the right by double clicking. Now on our side, when the Great Lakes Digital Mailroom sees the file come in and process it, what they will do is they will move it into the already viewed. Okay, so if you're not sure if we're processed something yet, if you look in the to GLMB folder on our side, on the Great Lakes side, you'll notice there's nothing there. You can also see, well, did I send that file I want to send the other day? Yes, I sent the file. It's already there. Okay. Similarly, when you pull a file from Great Lakes into, and I should have put it into this from Great Lakes folder, obviously. And you can do that again just by double clicking on it. So yeah, I've moved it over to my side now. Similarly, once you've received that file, yep, I got it, it's on my side, it's good. What you want to do is on the Great Lakes side, in the from folder where you got it from, move it into the already viewed. So now it's clean. You know you've already gotten it. The next time you come and look in here, you don't have to wade through a whole bunch of files to see if there's a new one. So that's just good kind of housekeeping as far as your file folders go. Okay. So again, it's a matter of when you're doing a from to from right to left to pull it from Great Lakes to your personal computer. You're highlighting the origin folder and the destination folder, and you're just double clicking. Similarly, for things that you'd be sending to Great Lakes, you're going to select your origination folder, the destination folder. You'll notice it disconnected again, but that's not going to be a problem. And in reality, probably what you're going to do is you're going to highlight all of them because you don't want to send them one at a time. So you can send multiple files at the same time just by highlighting them, dragging and dropping. There you go. Once you've seen that they're done, you can move them into your archive folder. And a good way to know that they've succeeded is you can see down here successful transfers. Okay, so you want to make sure that the files were transferred successfully. Nothing failed. If it failed, try it again. But once you see that it's successful, you can go ahead and move them into archive, and there you go. So that's kind of using Filezilla. So finally, we've got some frequently asked questions. Can I install Filezilla on more than one machine? Absolutely. You can install it in as many places as you'd like. You use the same setup, the same login, the same password, so that's not a problem at all. Can I open a file from within Filezilla to see what it is? Well, that's a good one. Actually, one of my early learnings was, yeah, you don't want to do that because your natural reaction is to say, oh, I got a file from Great Lakes. What is it? And you double click it. Okay, and you double click it. Why isn't it opening? Why is this file not opening? Well, it's not opening when you double click it because a double click is actually an attempt to do another file transfer. So what I absolutely recommend is once you've done your transfers, they're successful, you've done your archiving, you close out of Filezilla entirely, and then go to your folder on your desktop or wherever it is, then open it up. The final question that we had, if I send the wrong file, can I delete it from the Great Lakes side? No. The simple answer to that is no. So for example, if on the sent to GLMB, you sent, oh, that was the wrong one, or I already sent it last week, or whatever the case may be, if you try to delete it, you shouldn't be able to. Okay, we've got this, my test account here is, yeah, okay, so permission denied. Okay. The idea being is we don't want our clients to have access to delete things from our server. Okay, so that's just controlled with the permissions. If that one was sent in error, I would just say just move it into the already viewed, and that way our digital mailroom will basically ignore it because that's the archive folder. So that basically concludes the educational video on Filezilla and SFTP. I hope you enjoyed it, and enjoy the rest of your day.